Nerd culture rise up. It could get elevated. Nerd culture rise up. It could get elevated.
Lid wins. That's how it got. It was Duke. Yeah, but it worked.
That's good.
It worked for me being exhausted after that whole thing yesterday, but I'll take it. Let's move this down a little bit. There we go. So welcome to Every Man's Guide to Nerddom, where we are two 30 to 40-something-year-olds who talk about pretty much whatever we want. I'm Chris.
And I'm Kyle. And if you guys want to be a bigger part of the things that we have going on with the show here, we have links to the Discord down in the show notes below. Join the Discord. It's free. If you don't know what Discord is, it's awesome. We have categories for all kinds of topics. If you want to talk about gaming, movies, comics, anime, ball sports. We got that. Sports, beer. We got beer and Funkos and like other things. There's a lot of things. We're adding things all the time to the things. So join that. Join the conversation. There's lines to talk about like the episode and feedback and things you guys want to hear. So that's fun. Join that. Also, if you want to hang out with us live and in person, we play video games terribly every Friday and Saturday night. We're playing community games on Saturday nights. Right now it's, recently it's been a game called Unfortunate Spaceman, which is like Among Us.
On crack.
Had crack and then made a baby with Dead Space, and they just all smushed it together, and then it's really fun. We've been playing that. We played Midnight Ghost Hunt last night.
That was so much fun.
I was leery about that because the name is so cheesy. The game was so fun. We had a blast. I'm looking forward to playing that again. So yeah, follow us. Find us on Twitch. Chris over there's Guyver Unit 01. It's GUYVERUNT01. Mine's a little shorter and simpler. It's KSIG, K_SIG. And our guest today on this show, down in the video, if you're watching, is down below us. Also streams. So we'll have links to her stuff in the show notes as well. You guys should check that out. So we're having a continuation of last week's episode. What are we talking about, Chris?
We are talking about part 2 of our series for 2022 of women in gaming. That's a lot of twos of women in gaming. Something that is very near to Kyle and I's hearts.
Yep.
As girl dads.
Yeah, we are girl dads.
We are girl dads.
That's dads of girls, not
Yeah, well, it's fine. It's 2022. Either way.
Either or.
But we have a super special guest with us today because what we're talking about is women in gaming and just the culture, like adversities they faced, how they play, why they kick our ass every single time we play.
Talk so much shit to me.
It's true. We're not good, and the people we play with are much better.
Yes.
But we have the amazing Lydia with us, or Lydwins, today.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Well, thank you for being here, giving up an early Sunday morning.
10 a.m. Woo! You guys are wild.
We're up and risers. But we'll start out and say that you all have heard us talk about the Stevia show. And one of the reasons that I got off my ass to do this with Kyle was because of my buddy Steven. And then Lydia, Miss Lydia right there. They have a very, very successful podcast. Huge in the local community too. Very well known in the local community and worldwide. I think, didn't you guys say New Zealand was one of your tops?
Yeah. Weird.
The Kiwis love you.
Kiwis.
The Kiwis. But Lydia is one of the reasons that I started doing this.
Aww.
So
that's
we wanted to have her on, and of course we waited as we get closer to episode 100, but we still, damn it, we got her on.
We got her. That took a bit.
It did. So Lydia, thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you.
So
excited to be here with my fellow nerds.
Yes. And Lydia does know quite a bit of nerd culture.
I do. Yeah. If I was doing this in my office, you would see a bunch of like, I have my Funko Pops in my office. I've got Lego brickheads going on. So my office is very nerdy. It's pretty cool.
What is behind you on the wall there, Lydia?
Oh, these
Yes.
are my these are mine and my husband Matt's. Shout out Matt. We collect pins. We pin trade at Disney. So I wish I could pull them off the wall, but I can't. But they it's a big thing in Disney culture is pin trading. You trade with cast members and other fellow pin traders.
Pinheads.
Yeah, pinheads. And so every time we go, we bring collected pins to trade with people, and then you try to get sets. And so the one over here is our Marvel Avengers board. So there's lots of Marvel, Spider-Man, and then these are kind of random, like Donald Ducks and some of our Star Wars that are on there. And so, yeah,
Awesome.
yeah,
Nice.
love pins in this house. They're pretty cool.
And huge shout out to Matt, who is probably Lydia's biggest supporter, I would dare to say.
Yeah, he's great. I love him.
Matt's awesome. You would get along well with Matt, Kyle.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's set up a date.
He's
What are we
pretty
doing?
cool. He's pretty cool. He doesn't play video games, but he does do a lot of other random things. So
Yeah,
he's
he
pretty
does.
cool.
And he supports Lydia, most importantly.
Yes, he's
That's
my
the
number
big-
one fan.
The big
Yep,
plus.
he really is.
Yeah.
So, all right, Kyle, what are we gonna start off with here?
Well, first off, I mean, we got a little short intro there, but Lydia, tell us like a little bit more about yourself. We got,
Sure.
just a few things like how long, since our focus here is gaming, and we don't have to stay on gaming. There's a lot of topics that can spur off of this and different things that we can get to.
Sure.
But just like a little background, like how long you've been playing,
Mhm.
like your first gaming memory, your first system, just a little background on how you got going and what kind of drove you to keep playing.
Sure. A little bit about myself. Well, I am in my late 20s. Turned 30 this year. I live in Oklahoma. I grew up in Iowa. And I've been playing video games, I think, as long as I could hold a controller. So I think at probably the age of 3 or 4, maybe 5. I think 5 is probably too late. I think probably I was about 4. One of my earliest memories of life was my brother being born and me playing Sonic the Hedgehog with my dad. And I think I was about 4 years old. So that is the first game I ever played on the Sega Genesis OG.
Yeah.
And so that was my first game I ever played, and that evolved from there to Mortal Kombat. And then my first shooter game, I think, was in 1998 when Metal Gear Solid came to the PlayStation 1.
Wow.
I think was my first shooter, and then that's when I fell in love with first-person shooters and multiplayer games like that.
Nice.
I will vouch for Lydia. She is a beast at first-person shooters, like Warzone, Tarkov. I have never seen. I'm not. This isn't an exaggeration or just buttering her up. Like, watch her stream. I have watched her pop these headshots from a distance, and like, it was almost like a no scope. It was so fast, and then all of a sudden she got like. I remember watching this one. 3 guys. They were just in a squad. Obviously, they were running, and she goes, "Wait! I got one right here!" Boom, boom, boom. And then I look. I go, "Where the hell did they go?" She popped at Kyle like we would be demolished in like 3 seconds.
Like you guys if you're listening and you play first person shooters and stuff, then you know, those of you that don't know, Tarkov is hard. Tarkov is very, very hard, and
There's a lot that goes into it for sure.
punishing, and there's a huge learning curve, and there's so much in there. And like I've played it off and on for years, and I popped into Lyd's stream one time. I think Kristen was like, "Oh, she's playing Tarkov." Like, cool, I'm gonna check it out. I'm like, holy shit, she freaking smoked! Like, I was in awe. Like, I've been playing it for so long, and like, I wouldn't be able to hang. And this is a demanding game, and it's extremely impressive. Like, just anybody that can play it well, it's extremely impressive. So I was just like, wow, this is awesome. and watch for a
Thank
while.
you. Thank you. High risk, high reward is that game.
Very.
That's actually the first game I've ever played on PC. I know.
Is it really?
I know
Whoa.
that probably also might like be like, oh, that's kind of cool too. Yeah, I never I didn't PC game until 2019 when I actually found Escape from Tarkov. That was the whole reason why I built a PC was I was like, I want to play this game and I want to be good at it. And so that's the first game I've ever played on mouse and keyboard.
Wow.
I will tell you, Lydia
Yeah,
is the first
wild.
one. Like, I didn't even know about Tarkov until I watched Lydia play it. Like,
It's
I had
fun.
never heard of it, never seen it. And
Yeah.
just watching her play, just sitting here going, I can't even hang. Osty, I think we could demolish Osty. I mean, that's regardless. Not Lydia, though, Kyle.
They don't play as much as me though.
Still just in
Tarkov is
shock.
just one of those games. I don't know. I don't know if you guys have a game or like have ever had a game or anything really that you just like, you just think about constantly.
Mm-hmm.
You just like have a little obsession, you know, like I'll be at work and be like, man, I can't wait. Because today I get to play. Like, I can't wait to go home and play. And that's
Get your
all I
tasks
think about
lined up in
all
your
day.
head.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do
I'm
this
like, which
task
task
today.
am I going to do today? How many times am I going to die? You know, how mad am I going to get? What gun am I going to use? You know, it's just one of those games where I think about it constantly.
I'm still in
it's your
shock
game.
that was your first foray into mouse and keyboard shooter game. Like most people, it's going to be like CS:GO or
Mhm.
Call of Duty.
COD or something like that. And then, you know, those games are hard. They're just not overly complicated with keybinds and stuff. Tarkov is hard. Even if you've been PC gaming, first person shooting, whatever,
Shootering.
for years,
Shooter.
that game is fucking hard because there are so many variables, keybinds and variables. And like, you think, I mean, Chris, you played WoW back in the day, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can think of your keyboard spread and your hotkeys and everything. Like if you had all the mods, you could see all the buttons and things that you could do for that. Take that, dump that into a first-person shooter, and then that be the first time you play on a computer. That's impressive. I am overly impressed there.
I don't think I could do it. I have
I
yet
know
you
to
couldn't
try
do
it. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean,
know
there's
you
another
couldn't.
reason I haven't tried it.
Yeah, it's I will say it's tough. I don't know. I probably should have learned a different game on mouse and keyboard first, but
If you can play
it
that,
really
you can play
jumps
anything.
it really jump started me into it. Like now I can play Fortnite, Call of Duty. I still choose though to play on controller for fast-paced first-person shooters. I just think I do better. But for Tarkov, yeah, I just taught myself. I was like, I watched the Pool Shark. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but he streams on Facebook. And so at my old job, you couldn't watch like Twitch on your computer. And so I could watch Pool Shark on Facebook sometimes. And he was playing Escape from Tarkov. And I was like, oh my gosh, this game looks like it is just above all games that I've ever played. So that's why I was like, I'm just going to teach myself how to do it. And I did.
And sure
Soloing
enough,
most of the time, aren't you?
I'm what?
Are you soloing it most of the time, or do you play with a squad?
I usually play solo. I play with Osty and Pod sometimes. And then I got Sierra, one of my best friends. I got Sierra to she got a computer and I got her to play it. So we've played some. But that's also her first mouse and keyboard game, I'm pretty sure. So
Recommend, right?
Yeah, so we've been playing we play very slow when we play together, but yeah, I usually play by myself and take on the squads. I think that is fun.
I don't even know what to say on that one because like that game is hard. It really is, and Lydia's good. And I'm glad I didn't know you got Sierra playing it. That's awesome.
Yeah, I got Sierra to download it, and
Sierra makes the most amazing freaking cookies you have ever had, and she customized them. She did Star Wars ones for me,
and they were freaking cool. Those ones.
Yeah.
Oh, and they taste good too.
Oh yeah, they were.
You know how some
good.
cookies
I
like
do love
look
cookies.
good, but they don't taste good? These look good and taste good. Like
Yep.
it's
Yep. I think she made those strawberry lemonade. I can't remember.
That's
They were
gonna be on my
good.
mind all day now. Cookies.
Yeah.
Thanks
She's
a
the
lot.
cookie queen. I call her the
welcome.
cookie queen.
Oh, Sierra's so nice too. She
Oh,
really
yeah.
is.
It's awesome.
We've
You're
been friends
drawing
for a long time.
more friends into that horribly confusing hard game.
And more
Yeah.
female friends, importantly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we can talk about this later, but I didn't even really know my friends. Like I play Call of Duty with the girls. We call it the girls' room. It's me, Kristen, Kaylee, and Sierra. And I don't really think they ever really played games before. I was like, hey guys, do you want to play this game with me? And they were like, sure. And then they would play Call of Duty and they got really into it. And now, right now, because of no builds, we've been playing Fortnite as the girls' room. And it's been pretty fun. So, yeah.
I would actually love to see you stream the girls' room again, because it is so fun.
With
watching you
Warzone
all
or
play.
with Fortnite? Because
Any
Fortnite's been
of
pretty
them.
funny.
Yeah, with Fortnite especially, just because Kyle, like, it is so fun to watch them when she streamed with all the girls.
They're hilarious.
Because you don't expect some of the things that are coming out of their mouth, because they all sound so sweet, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, shot that guy in the head, and it's like, wait, what?
I'll watch. I'm down.
It's awesome.
It's funny. It's a good time.
So I actually want to ask you here too, Lydia. I want to talk a little bit more about your family, your brother and your dad, and the gaming times you guys have had together, and why your brother has disappointed me and stopped streaming.
Oh, the D word.
Yes.
Rough.
So tell us about your brother and your dad, and like the whole family dynamic with you, and how that became a thing.
Yeah, so like I said, my dad, early on, we had the Sega Genesis, and before that, I mean, he grew up on the Nintendo, OG Nintendo, where it's the box and you put the blow on the thing and you put it.
Oh, we know that one.
My grandma plays games too. She's a big fan of Mario. She has all the Marios. Mario 3 with I think Mario 3 is when he has the raccoon tail, right? Is that right? Yeah. Yep, so some of my early memories are watching my grandma and my dad play, right? But then my grandma lives in Texas, and so we would only visit her like once a year. So my first playing memory is playing Sonic the Hedgehog. But then when we got older, my brother was born when I was like 4.5. So ever since Logan was born, it was like one of those things where I remember being little, being like, I can't wait to play with him. Like, I can't wait. Cause like he wants to play with Hot Wheels, but like one day he's going to want to play games, and then all of us will play games. And then that was when he was old enough to play, was really when the shooters like Call of Duty came out and you could do split screen. So split screen in our house was huge. Wow. We play split screen on the TV, horizontal. And so, you know, we'd take turns, we'd rotate between me, Logan, and dad. And the shooters were really the games that we connected with, because those were often multiplayer, right? Right. Like your Sonics, your Crash Bandicoots were games that Logan and I would play until 3 a.m. But we'd have to take turns, right? Right. So the family dynamic usually happened when dad was off work and we could play Call of Duty. Need for Speed was another one that we played split screen when split screen became big. Right. But Metal Gear Solid was like our first, like, this game is amazing. And we played all the Solid Snakes since then. PlayStation 1. We've had every PlayStation known to exist in my house. I have 2 in my house now, 2 PlayStation 4s. And Logan has a PlayStation over in Florida. And then, so really it's just evolved. And my whole time in high school, we would come home and play games. And for a while, that's what Logan wanted to do. He got big into like Assassin's Creed and things like that. But we would still just always play Call of Duty. Like Call of Duty was our big like family game. Because of the split screen and the multiplayer aspect of it. Now, when we go home, there's a PlayStation in every room of the house. So my dad has a gaming like area in the basement. So in Iowa, you have basements and then you have a level, and it's like a finished basement. So downstairs is where he has his like big TV where he plays, but he got like a little gaming monitor because he came to my house and played on my setup and was like, okay, this might be better. So he bought himself like a little gaming monitor to play on. And so he's one downstairs, and then there's one in my room and one in Logan's room. And so we will all play Call of Duty together in the same house on our own screens now. That's awesome. Nice. And ever since I moved, so we grew up in Iowa, but I moved to Oklahoma to go to school. and then Logan went to the University of Northern Iowa. And even during college, we would play games. And then I moved to Disney, and I didn't bring any games when I worked at Disney World. But then as soon as I got my full-time job back here in Oklahoma, it's just been a way for us to stay connected. So I love video games in that aspect, where growing up, we started with single player, take turns, then we went to split screen, and then we can now play anywhere in the world. And it's just like we're right next to each other. So
A family
gaming
that can survive the past the controller phase of gaming.
yes, it's a strong
can
family.
Get through anything.
Anything. Yeah.
Anything.
Now I won't say that Logan and I didn't fight over it a few times, because let me tell you, we did, but we survived.
You survived. You did well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I will tell you too, that also proves that gaming brings people together.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All age groups.
Especially in my family, for sure.
I just think it's cool. Your grandma.
Yeah,
is a
Grandma
gamer.
Mary. Listen, shout out Grandma Mary. Grandma Mary still plays. We have the OG Nintendo at her house in Orange, Texas. We come in the summertime and we will play Mario. Any Mario she wants, we play it. So
Awesome.
Grandma Mary is like, I don't know how old she is. I think she might be around 70, and she still plays Mario.
Nice.
And she's killing it.
And she is one of the OG
She's OG.
girl gamers. Girl
Yeah.
gamers.
Yep, she's OG girl.
She's a pioneer.
Yeah.
I would say
Grandma
that.
Mary on.
Gosh, Grandma Mary would be hilarious. I love her.
Oh, I'd love to see that. It's just really cool to me that your family, that's how your family, one of the ways your family bonded.
Yeah.
Was over video games. And like, it's something that, and if you think about it too, like during that time period when you were younger, you didn't hear a lot of dads wanting to do that with their daughters.
No.
So I think that's awesome too. That's like so cool.
Yeah. Well, and I said this before, but I think it's cool because you guys are girl dads, and some of my favorite memories of my whole life is gaming with my dad. Me, Logan, my dad have our own separate like group chat, and my mom found out once, and she was so mad because
she wasn't part of it.
Hey, you want to? Yeah. Hey, you guys want a game 7 p.m. right? And we didn't want to like blow her up about that. So when she found out we had a separate group chat, man, we got in trouble.
You guys been talking about.
Yeah. She's like, well, what else you talk about in that group chat? And we're like, nothing, just games. Like it's nothing.
So where'd you hide the body?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you hit on really heavy there. Like, you know, we were curious about like what draws you into gaming. And obviously that's like a huge part of it is your family and being able to bond and communicate and keep up and just like keep building memories. And what outside of your family, what is it that draws you? What's your personal gratification that you get from gaming, your purpose, or why do you do what you do?
Why do I continue gaming?
Yes.
I like to kick people's ass.
Good enough. All right.
Like I just, yeah,
she does.
Like, I just want, I don't want to be the best, but I want to be better than anybody else. So I guess I like to continue to play multiplayer games because I don't really play any sports. Like I played sports growing up, but that isn't like a love for me now. And so when I go do things outside, I like watch Matt play sports or I like go for a run, but nothing is very competitive until I get on a lobby full of guys in Call of Duty and win. Right. So I don't know. It's just a gratification that I can still pick up a controller and still beat people that maybe think that they're better, but they're not.
You're a little competitive.
I am very competitive, and I would have to say thanks to my dad on that one. When my dad plays games, he gets a little heated, and I would say that I got that trait. I don't know. It's just fun. I like it. The games that are coming out now are just so entertaining. Like Fortnite. I mean, when Fortnite first came out, we'd watch Ninja. We were living in the apartment, and even Matt was into it. We were like, whoa, this is like so cool. And so we played Fortnite for a long time. It's just games today are just completely different than the games used to be, and I just think that that's awesome too. So I don't know, I just love it. I like to just come and do it. I don't really do it as like a stress thing because like a lot of people say I game because you know it relieves stress, but the games that I play are very stressful, so that's like doesn't work. Like Tarkov is a stress game, so it's like I don't relieve any stress playing Escape from Tarkov. It's just that I want to be better. I don't know.
I will tell you, I can attest to Lydia gets stressed playing these games by watching her.
Yeah, my face. I'm like
her face betrays.
Get closer.
What happens?
Closer.
I'm like, oh my gosh, where's this guy at? You know,
looking for that pixel to move.
Yeah.
I will tell you, I have only ever seen, for the most part, Lydia does a great job of, you know, she'll get stressed and she'll yell.
Yeah.
I have only seen her rage once.
Oh.
And
that's
when
surprising.
No, it was only once on
I rage more than that.
But you're not watching enough, Chris. That's what it is.
I need to watch more then. But she was so much. She hit the table, and that webcam and monitor started vibrating like 5 minutes after she got done hitting it.
I believe
that was the rage. But no, it was like I've only seen it happen once with her. Other times she's just like, okay, no, that's fine. You're dead. I'm killing this guy next. I'm going after this guy.
Yeah.
I've seen her pinpoint who she's going after, and sure enough, they're dead.
You said something. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just agree. Yeah, I rage a little bit sometimes.
Well, you said something really interesting that I wanted to round back to when you're talking about being competitive and like I want to kick all these guys' ass, and then you're talking about your dad being competitive and getting a little heated. Do you remember the first time that you beat your dad at any game, like legitimately? Because I'm gonna assume like almost any day, like okay, let him win a little bit. I don't let mine win too much because then they get a big head. But do you remember your first victory against your dad in any game?
Yeah, my first victory and against my dad was in Mortal Kombat.
Oh, what?
I think that he.
That's such a hard game.
When I
I'm gonna top off on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, when I think about this though, I think I played Mortal Kombat probably a little too early as a child.
I probably did.
But yeah, I mean, Mortal Kombat was one of the newer games that we played on PlayStation 1. I think is the first one we played. But he always played Sub-Zero, so very hard character to always beat. And then I think that I played Scorpion on that win, and I could tell that I actually beat him because of the way he like, oh, good job. You know, like I will always forget like how he was like this. He had like this smile of like, holy shit, she just beat me, but I'm not going to let her know that she beat me like 100%. But I know that that was like my first one was in Mortal Kombat.
My first loss to my daughter was in Mortal Kombat.
See, I love that.
Mortal Kombat 11. She beat me there. And I didn't say much. I was just like, good job. She's like, yeah, I won. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then we had we were playing Mario Kart not long after that. Like, I think it was N64 Mario Kart. Playing in the living room, and I was playing with the little guy. And finally I talked to her, like, come on, you know, race me. Like, come on. And so she comes in, and she won, like, hands down, just kicked my ass. And like, I want a rematch. She's like, nope, I won, and dropped the controller and just like left the room. That was it. She would not give me a rematch.
That
and
was
still
it.
To this day has not given me a rematch on Mario Kart.
He dropped the controller.
She said, mic drop.
Turned around and left the room. But
yeah,
Mortal
she wants
Kombat
to stay up.
That's why I was like, oh, because that was my first like
that was
legit serious loss where I was trying and she just kicked the shit out of me. I'm so mad. And she beat me several times over and over again. Like she found her pattern and did her thing.
Right.
And then we played it off and on for like 2 weeks. So I had to get back. I was like, okay, I got to learn how to do some more moves because I haven't played in forever. And then looked up, I think I was probably playing Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
And a fatality. And I finally got her and I beat her and I pulled off the fatality, and the look on her face, she's like, why would you do that? It's like,
oh,
you've been kicking my ass for 2 weeks. I've
I
got
gotta.
a lot of rage built up.
I gotta.
You got to.
That's so awesome.
Put down. I'm still the parent in this house.
Yeah. 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 I'll never forget that. It's good.
I'm still waiting for the day that I get beat. So
Probably coming
it's
really
probably
soon.
coming soon.
oh,
Yeah.
it probably is. Like
It's coming soon.
I
It'll be when
looked
you
up.
least expect it.
Well, she wants to play all these games that I play, and I'm like, no, Call of Duty's probably not appropriate for a 5-year-old. But then she's like, hey, I want to play that game. I was playing Hitman 3.
No.
I'm like, okay, the controls are kind of complicated. There's no way she's gonna figure this out. She just likes, seeing 47 change into all the different costumes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, cool. I walked off. I went to the bathroom, got a drink, came back, and this is my main game. And she was sitting there choking out, like a waiter in front of everyone.
Oh, good.
And I go, what are you doing? She goes, I don't know. And just sitting there, just choking him. And I'm like, okay, I think you're done with this one. And I'm like,
Lesson learned today.
listen,
Yeah.
learn. Well, Kai, I will tell you too. She is Lydia's biggest fan, I think.
Yeah, Willow.
She
Aw,
loves
so
to
cute.
watch Lydia.
She's so
like-
cute.
She's like, she's like, can we give her money? I'm like, yes.
No.
She's like, can we give her more money? I'm like, yeah, I guess. She
Oh,
just
so
likes
she likes
giving
throwing the
Lydia
biddies
bits.
out.
Yep, she loves throwing the biddies out.
She's
Nice.
cute. She's cute.
But I love
She's
her
the
watching.
future of the women in gaming. She's
Well,
she's the
that
future.
that's what I'm afraid of. Because she's also, 5 and violent.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, I'm telling you, I played games very early that I probably shouldn't have played, but I think I turned out. I mean, haven't killed anybody.
I think
yet.
you turned out fantastic.
I haven't killed anybody. I haven't hit anybody with any
Matt!
cars.
No, no.
You know what game I was never allowed to play was Grand Theft Auto. That
That's
game,
probably actually
and to this day, I still won't play it because I'm like, well, I just think it's inappropriate. I don't know. I have no reason. I
That
just,
got ingrained in you.
yeah, it was just like, no.
It's
Well, I
funny.
guess
That's
it's
my
like one of
main
those
game
things
right
when your dad lets you play most games, like every game, but then
Mhm.
there's one game that he's like, no, then it kind of sticks with you because you're like, oh, okay, well, he let me play all these other games, but this game he was like, no,
Yeah, it's
Maybe
going to
I
be one of
shouldn't
two
play
things.
this
there's a reason, you know,
That's either going to stick with you like you did, and you're like, nah, I'm just never going to play. You're like, I must
Yeah.
play this game.
or it's opposite. Like, how
Yeah.
can I find it? You know?
Mhm. Well, and they do different stuff with Grand Theft Auto now. Like Kyle is real big into the role playing with
Yeah,
Grand
I've
Theft
seen,
Auto
I've watched some role play streams, and I think that's pretty interesting, actually.
because it's not your typical Grand Theft Auto anymore.
Right? It's different.
So
I don't think I'd be very good at it. That's like playing what's the game that you play different characters? It's an older game. Not WoW. People they sit around the table and they have different characters. Steven was
Oh.
really into it.
D&D? Dungeons
Yes.
and Dragons?
oh,
Yeah.
like
Dungeons and Dragons.
Dragons.
Yeah.
I tried to play that one time. I was not very good, so I don't think I could thrive in the role play area. But it's entertaining to watch for sure.
We did a whole episode way back, a few months ago
Yep.
on GTA roleplay and all that. That's if you guys listening, that's a good one to go back and check out because it was pretty interesting going into the depths of that.
Yeah,
But-
I bet.
So let's since we were on Call of Duty and like going back to you, being in the lobby and just that, yeah, I'm going to kick everybody's ass. Let's talk about toxicity in gaming and
Mhm.
how it like everybody experiences it different.
Yes.
Us as guys will definitely experience it different from you. I will experience it different from Chris. Like everybody takes it different, and everybody's succumbs to different types of toxicity. It's depending on the game and there's so many factors that go into it, but it's out there. It is so out there on
100%.
so many levels. So let's just talk a little bit about your thoughts on it and what you experienced and how you deal with it.
Sure. I think that's a great question. I think it kind of hits me differently because I do play a lot of multiplayer games. And if I ever play by myself, I don't usually squad up because of the whole toxicity thing, because I hardly ever find like a woman playing Call of Duty. Like the odds of me getting into a squad with another girl is very low, right?
Right.
And so for Call of Duty example, like that has been probably the most toxic community I've ever been a part of when I want to like maybe play in a squad. but I don't have a squad. And so I'll be like, oh, let me jump in here. And then you turn your mic on and they're like, they call you names, right? They just aren't very friendly. And I think it's because a lot of guys don't like the idea that a girl could beat them in their kill count, right?
Toxic masculinity.
Yeah. So when you're, I don't know, I've never been a man before, but I feel like there's just something there. They're like, oh, a girl playing Call of Duty. I can't believe it. I don't know. I think it's wild, but so Call of Duty is one of the worst experiences I've ever had where, I get in a squad. So I usually will only play it solo now because of the option. There used to not be an option to play solo, right?
Right.
It used to only be squads, but now there's a solo option. So I'll only ever play solo or play with my dad and my brother or the girls' room. Before Warzone or before like the big online maps, there was it was just team deathmatch, right? And you didn't really have to chat with anybody for team deathmatch. So doing that early on was fine, but it was mainly when you could get on the internet with people from around the world was when it started getting wild. But now I don't really play Call of Duty that much because their whole anti-cheat doesn't really work. And so it's kind of annoying until they get that fixed. I probably won't go back to that game. But with Fortnite early on, they had group chat, right? And early on, you couldn't play solos either, or you could play solos. But then when duos came out and trios, you were like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. You can play with more than 3 people. And that was an in-game chat. That was a little different because that community is a lot of little kids, right? And so that is a weird, that was a weird like thing because you're like a 25-year-old playing with maybe like a 14-year-old. And so then you also didn't want to be on group chat because you're like, well, this is weird because they're a little kid. And like, what if I said the F word? I don't know. So that was a weird lobby thing. But Escape from Tarkov just added in-game chat. And I thought that was going to be interesting because you don't really squad up with people that you don't know. So you will play it solo unless you have a squad. But in the game now, you can actually have in-game chat for 20 seconds. You can turn on your mic and talk.
Really?
And it's been very interesting because I thought it was going to be really toxic. I did. But I actually have been pleasantly surprised, and it's actually been on the opposite way. And I don't know how I feel about it, but like when I am playing Tarkov and maybe I'm a scav, which is like a character that doesn't matter, right? Maybe I'm a scav and I'm playing with, and you all of a sudden you run up on like 6 scavs and you're like, oh, hey guys. And they're like, are you a girl? Like, that's always the first thing I get is, are you a girl? I'm like, yeah. Are you a boy? And they're like, haha. And then it's like a plethora of loot. Like they just are like, here, have this. And they like just give me all the things because I'm a girl. Right.
Really?
But another scav comes up and he's a boy and they're like, oh, hey man, what's up? And they just move on. But because I'm like, yeah, I'm a girl. They're like, oh, here's all this cool stuff I found. You have a backpack here. Like, so it's been like complete opposite of like Call of Duty where they're like, shut up, you can't play, to here's all my loot. Like, yay, and so I don't know which way I'd like. I of course I don't like the Call of Duty route, but I also don't need to be handed things because I'm pretty decent at the game. But the other day, I wish I would have recorded the other day. I had this interaction. I was actually as a PMC, so I'm a player. I have my sniper. I'm trying to kill scavs on the main road lighthouse, and this other player comes up above me. And I'm like, I get my MP7 out. I'm like, okay, this guy's about to jump down on me. I'm gonna wreck him. And he goes, hey down there. And I just like kind of, I was like, wait a second. He was like, hey, I want to be friends. And I was like, oh. So I voice chat and I was like, are you sure you want to be friends? I said, put your gun away and I'll be friends. And so he wanted to be friends. And he was like, oh, are you a girl? And I was like, well, yeah, I'm a girl. And then we just sat on the rock and we were just sniping scavs the whole time.
Oh, that's cool.
His understanding of me being a girl was like, I wasn't very good. And so when I would get my scav headshots, he'd be like, wow, great shot. Like he was really pumping me up. but I know that he wouldn't have done that if it was a guy who wanted to be friends with him. Like it's
The treatment's different.
yeah, it's a weird line because like I love a good compliment, but when you're in game and you're but when you're in game and you're playing and you're like, yeah, I'm a girl, and they're like, oh, and then he like proceeded to show me, like we were exiting together and he proceeded to show me like all the loot spots, but like I already knew the loot spots. But I was just like, oh, cool, and he would just like give me the loot.
So he
like,
was explaining.
Here's a Bitcoin. Oh, great. Thanks.
Thanks.
I would have taken a Bitcoin in a heartbeat on like.
I did take it in a heartbeat. Yeah. After that, I was like, yeah, where else can we loot? Like, I kind of played into it a little bit, but
he was explaining.
Like, yeah, it was pretty opposite of what I thought it was going to be. I thought it would have been more like, oh, you're a girl, shoot me in the head. Right. But no, it's been like, here's all my loot.
I honestly think
great. Love
that
it.
comes like a little, and this is just my head wrapping around it. Like it's in Call of Duty, it's not uncommon to run into a female playing. Like there's more and more females playing Call of Duty. Fortnite, definitely not uncommon. Tarkov, you're like the first female that I know that's played Tarkov. And
yeah.
I played it for a long time. So I think the rarity might be a little bit.
They get like excited. They're like, oh, a girl.
Yeah, like, oh, we got like bring her along. Like there's other game like that I like. There's certain survival games that you don't run into a lot of females, and anytime our group did, like usually it would be a girl playing solo off somewhere because there was nobody else playing with her.
Right.
And we like, all right, you're with us, and like come along, like that whole thing, and
I appreciate it. I think it's great. I'm like, sure, come on, have fun,
Come to the fold. You're going with us. We got a base, stuff like that.
Exactly.
And that's just really interesting, especially with, I'm still just wrapping my head around the whole Tarkov thing because Tarkov is not, I don't know. You have those moments of, like you have those wholesome Tarkov moments, that like you really don't expect, like you get a little wiggle and get the wiggle back and then you go around the map together. But the voice chat, that's something I was really curious about, especially with a female player coming in and how the guys reacted to that. And that's really like, that's actually pretty cool that it's at least fairly positive. Yeah,
I would say like 8 out of 10. I would say 8 out of 10 reactions are pretty positive, honestly, in Tarkov, which is it's surprising to me. Sometimes the 9 and 10 part of that, the other two part is I will say I've never been called a name or anything in Tarkov yet. But mainly it's just like, it's not wholesome. They're just like, okay. And then they run away. Like they don't want to play with you or something. And that's fine. And that's fine too, but the 8 out of 10 time that it's like, and sometimes they don't even ask. Like they just are like, oh, great. They just move on and we just play the game. But 8 out of 10 times it's the wholesome, like, oh my gosh, you're a girl. This is cool. Like I've gotten that a lot in Tarkov. Like, oh, cool.
That would honestly probably be my reaction. I'm not gonna lie, because I don't know any other females that play, and I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
Like, it's a male dominated game. Like it's just not known for a lot of females to play. So that is super cool.
It's like finding that unicorn.
Yeah.
You're the Tarkov unicorn.
You're the Tarkov unicorn.
I am.
So you mostly play multiplayer. Do you do a lot, or what I'm hearing, do you do much single player anymore? I mean, I know you had to growing up because that's what was there.
Oh, no, not really. I'm trying to think about the last single player game I played. Probably was the new Assassin's Creed Valhalla. But I didn't even ever finish the story. The first and only, like not the first, but the only single player game that I ever have fell in love with was Dark Cloud. PlayStation 2, Dark Cloud. You play as a character. His name is Tone. And basically what happens is the Dark Genie destroys his world and you have to go and rebuild the world. I think Dark Cloud was the first game that really got me obsessed with missions and goals and the reward of doing something like great in game. And I think that's why I'm so obsessed with Escape from Tarkov, because it has those entities in it. But in Dark Cloud, you played single player, and then you basically throughout your game time, you build cities and you build back and you get your mom back and all these things, and then you go on to the next city and you get a new like alias, and you can play as like Ruby. I remember Ruby as one of the characters. She had powers out of her rings and stuff, and her town was pretty cool. It was on the ocean.
Kind of looks like a PlayStation version of Link. Like the cover.
You streamed this game, didn't you? I think I remember you
Yes.
playing this.
Yeah, I streamed this game a while back because they remastered it on PlayStation 4.
That's right. And you could get like their different powers and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, I remember you playing this now. I remember
Yeah,
this.
so like Tone wielded a sword, but then the next character was like a cat and she had a slingshot. And then the next character was like a jungle guy, and he has the big like sledgehammers, big axes. So that was like really the first person game that had me like super interested in like tasks and building and doing the things. So now I compare ever since that game came out, I compare first person games to that game, and they don't match up. So I don't know what it was about Dark Cloud, but it was one of the best games I ever played. And I wish they would like come out with it again so I could just play it easily, but I don't like having to set up my PlayStation and doing all the things and getting the Elgato, and it's just so annoying. I wish I could just download it on this PC and play it whenever I wanted with a controller.
Get with you on that later.
But we played Spyro, we played Crash, we played all those young. And then my brother got into Assassin's Creed, which I think Assassin's Creed is good because there are tasks and stuff, but it's kind of, you like do the same thing. You know, the newer Assassin's Creeds are a little bit better because there's more character building to it. Like you can upgrade certain things, but nothing will ever come close to Dark Cloud for me. So yeah, I don't really play just single player games. They just don't do it. They don't do it for me,
Kyle, you would have liked watching her play this. Like, I think that Dark Clouds is up your alley for you.
And the screenshots of it, it looks pretty cool.
I think it'd be one you and your
Kyle,
kids would
it is
playing.
a great game, and it is a game. Yes, your kids would love to play it. It is. That's what I'm saying. I wish they would like. I mean, you can download it on your PlayStation 4, but it's still like PlayStation 2 graphics. Like, and Dark Cloud 2 came out, and it was just not as great. I don't know. It's just one of those games that has just hit me, and I just will always remember it.
It is. You're looking at the game now, aren't you?
Yeah, he is.
And
Yeah, it is. It's
a great
because
game.
you can upgrade your swords. You have like you get like different elements to make your swords better against ghost or better against plant characters, and you go through dungeons, and so there's like 12 to 18 floors per dungeon, and you go and you have to fight all these monsters, but you also have to stay healthy, otherwise you die. Like, there's a lot into this game, but it's simple. I mean, I think Dark Cloud was like the beginning of more complex games for me. I was like, this
I can see that.
This was the beginning of like, oh, I can add this and this to my sword and make it better, and I can do this attribute and this, like, and then you level up the health of your character. So your character starts with like 90 health, but you can get to a max of like 140. And like, then by the time you get to the big boss, which is the genie, and every level every like dungeon, at the end of the dungeon, like the 12th level, you have like a big boss to beat, right? So it's like I have to figure it out.
Like your first big foray into like skill trees and things like that. And
yes, the skill tree. Oh gosh. But it's a skill tree without a skill tree. It's wild.
I'm gonna really look into it some more.
Look into it. I think you could maybe download it for free these days. So
Likely could.
Yeah, if I could give any kind of recommendation, I know it's very old, but PlayStation 2 Dark Cloud, one of the best games I've ever played.
what I was curious about with that, which I guess we could, I mean, it would still carry over to multiplayer games, things as well, is what games do you think, first off, represent you? And this is just your personal opinion. That's not asking you to speak for the female gamer delegation here, but just your opinion of like, what games do you feel represent you best as a female gamer? And there are games that you feel like extremely miss the mark, like they seem like they're trying to, but they miss it really bad, or they just miss it entirely. And like, there are games that it just doesn't matter to you.
I think that's a good question. I think that most games, it doesn't matter to me because most games are developed by men. And so your main character are usually men, right? Your first characters that you get are usually men. Only recently, probably in the last, I would say 3 years, 5 maybe. You could have a game where you could choose to be a boy or a girl. But that never really bothered me because I grew up with games that your first female hero was Lara Croft, right? And then after that, there's none, right? So, I mean, even with Mortal Kombat, you could eventually play a woman character, but you had to unlock her, right? Call of Duty is the same. I mean, they only had men characters forever, and then I think it was not this one, but the last one,
Vanguard.
Vanguard. You got to be a woman, but you had to unlock her.
Yep.
And then Warzone came out, and they were like building off of the Fortnite, where you purchase characters, right? And so you could purchase your woman character, but then they finally, I think in the last year or two, they finally were like, okay, we'll just put in these characters for people to have and can select from, but then they're half naked. And so you're like, okay, well, great, cool. Like, am I going to wear a 2-top and some cute cargo pants to a Warzone? I wouldn't, but you never know. And then I would. And then I believe there was actually a young girl. I think she was like 15 or 16. She wrote a letter to them and was like, hey, can you like make a female character that would actually wear something cool and stuff? And then so now their female characters are actually way cooler.
Yeah.
And they're not just in 2-tops, right? So I don't know. I think that gaming is progressing. I do. I think that, in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, this time around, you right off the bat, you could choose to be the man or you could choose to be a female. Like that was a big thing, a big difference in Assassin's Creed because you were always Ezio or, one of the man characters. I just, let me remember what the random, I don't know. I don't know if there's, what game do I think represents me? Any first-person shooter game, really. Right now, I would say Escape from Tarkov. I really just love that game. I'm obsessed with it. No matter what happens, there's just something about that game. Looter shooter, high risk, high reward, but also if you die, you lose everything. There's just something about that I'm like, I want to be good at this because I don't want to die and lose my kitted AK,
And she
Make me
succeeds
want to
at that.
reinstall it.
You do it. I mean, come on.
Play with Lydia so I can watch her loot your
so
dead,
good.
rotting corpse.
It's so good.
I
always give loot back.
The last time I played, I was on Woods and I had a semi-decent sniper rifle and I was set up overlooking the lumberyard. Peeking around. I was on a little hill, not on the mountains, but on the low side, closer to the scav house side.
Okay.
And I was like looking down the lumberyard, and I didn't even hear the shot. It was just, and I hit the I was like, "Son of a bitch!" Like I was mad on stream. Sometimes I was streaming like, who fucking shot me? And so log off, whatever. And then like it was like 30 minutes later, I'm still going through, and I'm already past that. And then I see this little message pop up in chat, and it was a link to a clip, and it was the dude that headshot me that clipped it from his end and then put it in my chat. I'm like, oh, cool. Thanks, dude. And like, I didn't take it as toxic because Like I always liked it if I was in a match and like somebody that was with or fighting against were getting a gunfight, and at the end you saw who killed you or whatever, they would pop in each other's chests like, hey, GGs and all that stuff. Like, but then I was like, oh, that son of a bitch. I can't even be mad.
Yeah.
He was like, it was a good shot. I'm not even mad.
At least
Not
he
even
showed you
mad.
where it came from.
Yeah, I was really curious. So yeah.
But I think that's interesting that because when you said that didn't bug me, I feel like that would have bugged me. And I don't know why. I don't know why. But I feel like if somebody came into my chat and was like, I don't know, maybe if they were like good game, but it's not really a GG when I'm also on a rock trying to snipe, but he sniped me first. That means, you know.
Yeah, that wasn't.
I don't know. I feel like he was like a little like, hey, I gotcha, you know. I mean, I'm glad that you took it not, but I would have been like, get out of here.
It was a gotcha, but it was I did.
It was a friendly gotcha.
Yeah, like okay, that's how he got me, and that's where he got me from. And
yeah, that's true.
That makes sense. And I don't peek around that rock anymore. So
yeah, no more.
Lydia. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was to say, there's another game I think you might really enjoy, which Kyle has played. I have it too.
If it's a scary game, I'm out.
No, it's not scary.
Oh.
Hell Let Loose.
Oh, yes.
Hell Let Loose.
It's a World War II shooter. It's squad based.
Okay.
You have to have very, very good team tactics because one person is the commander, squad leader.
It's very similar to a game that's called Squad. I think you do 50 on 50 or 64 on 64. Large scale battle. I mean, matches take up to an hour or longer.
But you also have the physics of the guns too.
It's a really cool.
I love that.
Check out some of that. If it's World War II based.
Okay.
Historical locations, roles that have to be played out. Like you can't just like pick a role and be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna be an engineer and then just run and gun. And you can't just like run and gun. You have to work together and work as a squad. And
Oh, I like that.
It's really cool. The comms are really good on it. Big learning curve, but easy to jump into.
Okay.
And a pretty accepting community. Like people,
they're actually pretty good.
Really good about helping each other out and learning, especially like, hey, I'm new, I'm trying to learn this. You get a good squad, they'll like immediately be like, okay, you need to do this, you need to do this. So, like they'll throw the game on their self to help somebody new in because they love having new people come in. So
okay.
But I think you would like this one because like I said, like I've watched Kyle with a sniper rifle misjudge the distance.
It's hard.
Yeah, and it's like it's the bullet, you know, the trajectory, the gravity, everything. Because I remember him trying to shoot someone, and then I heard him, son of a bitch. And then he goes too far, and then he got sniped, or someone hit you, or someone was over you. I can't remember.
Yeah, there's a pattern developing here. I'm starting to notice now. Me trying to snipe people.
Listen, when a video game makes you guess the distance, and makes you know the velocity of a bullet, all these kind of things. Like I'm not even into guns in real life. Like I could care less. But when a video game does that and it makes you have to work for the kill, that's it for me.
That makes
like,
that hit really satisfying.
And that's why I don't really play Call of Duty anymore, because Call of Duty, no matter if you're right here in front of me or 1,000 yards ahead of me, I can beam you with any gun I have. I can hit you because there's no velocity, there's no tracking, there's nothing. But games like these, the ones we're talking about, those are the games that just hit different. When you have to page up because you're like, oh, that's 300 meters away. Okay, let's see. It just it's something different when you kill somebody, the gratification of that is like, it's
everything.
Something is something you just don't get in a Fortnite or a Call of Duty.
Especially if there's bullet travel. Like you fire the shot and you wait that second or that half second. So it's like pop.
And then you watch them.
Yeah.
Keel over. Oh, so good. It's just so good.
Well, that's why I think you would really like that game.
I'm gonna have to look into it. I put it on my notes over here to my left.
Because there's a bunch of us that actually have it.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time.
Yeah, I'll look into it for sure.
So we talked about toxic stuff already in your firsthand things. What do you think, in your opinion, the gaming industry or would help women or the gaming industry could do to better improve the experience of women in gaming?
Women, young girls, just overall.
Yeah.
I think that's a great question.
Grandmas, doesn't matter.
Grandmas.
Grandma Mary.
Let's ask her.
I think hiring more women on the back end in the development of games, the ideas of games, I think that is a great start. Companies are, I mean, the gaming industry is wildly ran by men, which is fine. I mean, most companies are, but you know, I think when you find that you put some women behind the scenes in there, I think you come up with better stories. Sometimes you come up with, you know, more intricacy and things like that. I think that would help I think if we knew about more women behind the scenes, then more women would come out and be like, yeah, I game. Because I don't think I told anybody that I was a gamer probably until late college. Like, not that I was ashamed of it, but no, actually it was in college. It's not that I was ashamed of it. It's that men assumed that women didn't game. I think that is a big thing too. Is like the assumption of like only guys can game was really heavy in the 90s and the early 2000s, I think, because they're, you know, but it's because women weren't like, yeah, I game. I mean, I didn't in high school. I never told really anybody that I played with my dad and my brother. I played video games all the time. Like, I don't know. I don't know if it was just because nobody asked. And so I was like, well, I'm not going to say, I'm not going to just be like, yeah, I play video games, you know, like,
yeah.
Because not something you just announce.
Then the boys in real life, and you know, when you're a girl and you're like 17, like that's awkward. Like the boys in your real life would be, you don't know. They could be like, oh, that's really cool. Or they could be like, oh, that's really weird. But like Matt, my husband, he knew it from the start because I played video games with his brother in college. So like he knew that I was a gamer. He knew that that's something that was important to me, that's how I connected with my dad and my brother. And so that is not, it's not a problem. Like it's not, he thinks it's cool. He supports it and we move on. Right. So I think that those things would help women in gaming. I think having men support women in gaming is like the biggest one, like having men. And I think it's those, I think it's big streamers like Dr. Lupo who plays with a lot of women. I think that it's important for big streamers like Tim the Tatman, Nick Merckx, people that watch, like that men mainly watch a lot, like include a woman every now and then. I think it's important for other men to see that because they're like, oh, actually it's cool to play with girls. Dr. Lupo does it, so I can do it too, you know? So I guess that'd be my answer to that.
Well, that actually, I've lost where we are. Kind of down on the list. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Kyle.
Got a Google Doc going on over there, guys?
It's
yep.
Yeah, it's that OneDrive doc, the one that we sent you. So this is a good lead into this. How do you feel? And you can decline to answer this if you want.
Oh, okay.
Because you know we always give whoever we have on the option if they don't want to discuss, if they feel it's too controversial,
Ooh,
you know,
okay.
not to discuss it.
I love controversy.
I know you do.
Tell me.
What are your thoughts on gamers, women in particular, who use their sexuality or gaming to promote their gaming, for streaming, stuff like that? So, because we all know the booby streams.
Yeah, listen.
And it's like, so what are your thoughts on it?
I have a mixed thoughts on it. Because okay, you asked me the question, and my first thought is, well, good for her if she's making money, like.
Right.
But then my secondary thought is, well, that kind of makes women look bad a little bit. I could see where it would be a controversy. I don't know. I think there's two different ways to look at it. This woman realized that most of her following is men, and men can be gross. And so let's show the boobies. And then she makes $20,000 a month. I mean, if I was making $20K a month doing that,
That's kind of hard to pass up.
Is there anything, can I say more? I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. No, it's true.
But I think there's a difference. Like, those women usually aren't playing or aren't good at games. So I think there's just a difference. Like, do you want to be, I don't know, do you want to do that and make money, or do you want to try to be good at a game and make money? I don't know. And then you want to be funny and make money. I don't know. I think it could go either way. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm on the route of like, do you? I don't really care. It doesn't bother. It doesn't affect me in any way. Good for you for making some G's, I guess. I don't know.
Do you feel that as a gamer who is really good at your trade on the first person shooters, do you feel that it cheapens your efforts at all when you see this? Like, if you go on, let's say they're in a hot tub in their bikinis.
Can you believe?
But playing, I haven't seen it. Kyle's told me about it. Kyle's told me about it.
I've seen it.
I haven't seen it. It was all Kyle.
Yeah, I bit the bullet and did the research.
Yeah, he did the research for the both of us.
Several weeks.
Several months. But
no money left my hands, damn it.
But they're in their bikinis, but they're playing like Warzone.
Yeah.
And they were terrible. Like, it was basically we're running around like, I'm just gonna run.
Yeah.
Look, I'm making my character run. Now I'm gonna jump. Like, they were jumping in front, like on a roof, when there was active shooters, like right across the street. Do you feel that lessens your efforts to be taken as a serious gamer?
No. And I'm going to tell you why. I think when people watch me game, they see that I'm good at it. And so they stay because they're like, oh, she's entertaining and can also shoot people in the head. When people stay in other chats, like the one you talked about, it's not for the gameplay. So I don't think it takes away from the gameplay. I just think that some people are there to watch hot tub streams and some people are there to watch girls game. I don't know. I feel weird about it. Like, if I see it on my timeline, like, cause the Facebook stream, Facebook streaming is very like, they don't have a lot of rules. No. So if I see it, I swipe quickly. I'm like, half naked lady. I don't know. But yeah, I could see how it could potentially, but I don't know. It's just my personality is like, I could give two shits about it. Like, good for them. They're making money with their boobies out. Congrats. I don't know.
However you got to do it.
However you got to do it if you want to. Like, dang! I must have missed that one.
Yeah, well, it was a test. Yeah.
So, I think that it is controversial. I don't know if it should be allowed. Now, if the question is, do I think it should be allowed? Do I think women should be able to play games on screen where kids could be like that? No, absolutely not. I think that could be it needs to be another platform, sure, but Twitch, Facebook, they're allowing things like this to happen. And so then I'm like, well, they figured it out. They made it so, they followed XYZ rules. And so now they're making bank. Well, good for them. They figured it out before I did.
I'm making hella bank.
Yeah. I mean, sure.
I'm having, and that's something I have a hard time wrapping my head around.
Right.
Is one, the tips and the bits and the freaking, like, why I don't like the people that are doing that, like, I'm at a loss for words of it, trying to wrap it. Like, that's that content. Like, there's, allegedly other content that you can find off of Twitch is probably better than that. And
right. That's what I'm saying.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly, supposedly, I've heard through the chatters. And then like the tips and the bit, like, you're supporting them, but there's a lot of false hope that comes from those guys that are doing that. You've got a lot of false hope built up, and a lot of false hope that's force fed to them also from said streamers, and that part of it's a little sad. But you know, they're capable adults and they can do what they want with their money. But that's just something I've never been able to wrap my head around, unless you know they're using that stream as a gateway to get to, or to get people to their other content that's really making the money. So
yeah, I always just find it kind of creepy.
Mhm.
Because like the people that are watching, I don't know, that's just weird. I don't know. Like the people that are actually giving the tips, think about that. Ugh.
yeah.
Ah! This is me. So I don't know. I think it's a weird vibe, but they figured out a way to make big bucks from it. So good for them, you know, hustle, I guess. But they're usually not very good at video games, so I don't think it really matters.
Opposite of that, do you have a favorite female streamer? The opposite
I
of going
do.
towards the hot tub booby people.
Yeah, I do actually. I do have a few female streamers that I like to watch. On Twitch mainly. I'm Amethyst. I'm _Amethyst. She plays Escape from Tarkov. And Munition. I don't know if you guys have heard them, but those are my two female gamers that I like to watch. Anne plays Escape from Tarkov as well, but she also plays a lot of Call of Duty. And then Amethyst, she plays mainly Escape from Tarkov, but she likes to mix it up sometimes too. But
Gotcha.
they're just really funny girls that play games that have all their clothes on. So
What?
so I like to watch them.
What
Yeah,
a concept.
They're good. They're full-time Twitch streamers and they're pretty cool.
I'm gonna have to check them out.
Yeah, I tend to watch girls that I think I would be friends with in real life.
Right.
And so I feel like those two I would be friends with in real life.
Pretty clean content. I'm asking for, because you know I got the young one.
Amethyst would probably be better. Anne likes to drop some bombs sometimes, but
Gotcha. But not that often.
but not often. No, they're both really cool people.
We'll check out Amethyst.
I mean, I've never met them in
first.
person, but on the screen they seem cool.
Well, and I think that's what a lot of us do. It's like we tend to gravitate towards people who we think we might be friends with in real life.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's like, okay, great, you're a great streamer, but if you're not entertaining and I don't feel that I have a connection with you,
Sure.
why am I watching?
Yeah.
I get that.
Exactly.
I totally understand that, which is why I stopped watching Kyle.
Yep.
Oh.
Not a connection there. So, all right. Well,
Yikes.
have fun with the rest of the show.
All right. Bye.
Maybe, baby. Maybe, baby.
All right, bye. That's fine. Lydia and I we'll finish
He's
this
gone.
and
She said, "See you later."
do you feel that it's harder to connect with, it's a kind of two-part question, with the male audiences on your stream? And
I think that the male audience is the main audience on my stream.
because it's a first-person shooter.
Yeah. I don't think that there are some women, of course, but if you're talking about like which one is larger, I think the male audience is larger. And I don't I don't think it's because I look great. It's because I look like this and I'm like trying to shoot people's heads off. So I think that that's why they stay, because they're like, oh, she's into it. Let's see what she does.
Yeah.
You know?
And Lydia does get into it. I will tell you that.
The thing that I've noticed too, when I like watch back, because sometimes you have to watch back, and so I like stick my tongue out. I'm like one of those, like, I make some bad faces, and I think that sometimes makes people giggle. So no, I don't think it's hard to connect to male audience. I think it'd probably be harder to connect to female audience, but I think it's just because there's not that many females that will play the games that I play, and we've kind of talked about that.
Yep.
If I played like, if I mained like Stardew Valley or something like that, I feel like I would have more women watch me. But
Animal Crossing.
Yeah. I mean, and not to say that those are like only women play those games. I don't want to say that.
No,
it's
no,
just
no,
that
you're not.
the higher women, I think if you did a study, there might be a study out there, but I think that women will play more single player games, more games that are less stressful than the games I choose to play.
And
So
note to
I think
self: stream more Stardew Valley.
See,
yeah, see?
well, and I also think that it's one thing that I've noticed is that a lot more women streamers will play like slice of life games, like Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing, because I've got 3 in my house that'll play Animal Crossing. Like I asked, what's her face back there? You know, what are you doing? She's like, I'm paying the mortgage. I'm like, we do that in real life. How is that fun? And then I'm like, what are you doing now? She's like, I'm weeding the garden. I'm like, we've got one you can go out front and do right now.
We need the garden to be weeded.
See,
I think it's an interesting thing because games like that put in tasks that women usually do in real life.
I didn't even think about that.
And I think that there are many women in real life that enjoy making dinner, cleaning, paying the mortgage, being in charge of the bills. And I think that that's why those games thrive with the women community. That's really what I have to say about, like, you know, The Sims. Like, I think that The Sims, I think men and women play The Sims, but I think The Sims is popular. The population of The Sims player base would probably be more women because you can be a woman in the game. You can find romance. You can have a baby. You can take care of the baby. You can buy a house. You can do these things that most women want. Right.
Right.
I enjoy cooking in real life, so I don't really like to do that in a game. So that's just, I mean, I don't know. I think it's just the way I grew up was that we played action-packed games, and I like the adrenaline of that. So
Like
yeah, I think that's, go ahead.
The tasks thing and like the tasks being built into games that like I come from a background, I'm playing a lot of survival games like DayZ, Miscreated, The Forest, and stuff like that. Like I love survival games. I don't do them much anymore. But one of my good friends that I do play survival games with when we get a chance, a female gamer that goes by Tiggs. And Chris has watched me play with Tiggs before. And she also loves playing survival games. And there's a balance there when we play together that, like, okay, I get to go out and I'm going to go stab stuff and I'm going to bring back meat and do all this stuff. And she's like, well, I'm going to stay at the base and I'm going to make healing potions or healing salves and
fires.
Fire. And it's like all the food's going to be going. And so, I'm like, so you're being base mom. She's like, yeah, I'll be base mom. And you go out and get all the stuff and bring it back. You go do all that and I'll hang out here and make all the stuff. And like, that's where my mind went immediately when you were talking about that is that that's those dynamics and funny how like people fall into roles that they like to do.
Right.
You know, you're either going to fall in the role that you like to do in real life or you're going to go full escapism and go do something that you never do anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's why video games like that are very popular. Like when Animal Crossing came out, the new one, I think that was like, it was on the charts forever.
Right.
And I just think it's because in real life, you grow up watching your mom do certain things and your dad do certain things, or your grandma and your grandpa, or whoever you're watching, you have always grown up watching them do certain things. I think that has been changing a little bit in our generation, like the millennial generation, because I think we've shown that you can do multiple things. I cut the grass yesterday, right? That's not something that just a man can do. I mean, I went out and cut the grass because Matt was doing something else. And I was like, well, I could be outside. It's nice, you know? And so, but growing up, my dad was the one who usually cut the grass. I mean, that was just like a thing. But I think that my dad showed me that I could do whatever I wanted, no matter if I was a girl or a boy. And I was the oldest. So I was the first one. So me and my dad had a lot of time together before Logan was born. And so I think that that's just something that, I mean, he was just like, if you want to play Mortal Kombat, we'll play Mortal Kombat. Let's go. You know, like finish him. Who cares?
That's awesome.
And that's just how I grew up. I just didn't love I'm not a big, like, I never played The Sims. I didn't play any of those games because I had my
not
dad
to doing Lawnmower Simulator anytime soon.
No. But I had my dad to play games with me. So I never played The Sims. I never played those kind of games. I never played those games. And that could be something too, like the people that made those games, that might be they never had anybody to play with, and so those are the games they played by themselves, right? So there could be like an inner more thing where they might have grown up wanting to do this and nobody in their house supported them, and so they played Sims, Stardew Valley, things like that.
All that and stuff. That's a great insight into that, because I've never thought of it from that angle, to be honest with you. So 2 things that you guys can take away from that right there is that Lydia's dad is amazing.
True. Yes.
He is amazing.
Confirmed.
He got her into gaming, plays games with her, very supportive, which is awesome. And then 2, Logan ruined all Lydia's game time with her dad when he was born. So Logan, thanks for ruining that.
Existence.
Yeah, thanks,
True.
Logan.
Yeah, he did. He took up a lot of time, but then when he got older, he got to play with us, so it worked.
And then he quit streaming.
Yeah.
Yes, Logan, if you're listening, I'm still bitter about that.
He is. He's bitter.
We've pretty much gone over those right there, because we kind of do what we normally do and jump around.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did we do the favorite video game characters yet?
No, we did not.
Lydia, who are some of your favorite female video game characters and why?
Great question. I think that almost every woman, I don't know, I don't remember what Prom said, but I'm going to say Lara Croft because it was the first female that I saw as a main video game character. Now, do I think that the way they put Lara Croft in that tube top and those tight cargo pants in the jungle, do I agree with that? Not really. But Lara Croft, I think, was like the stepping stone. And I think it was really cool because that game was purchased by men, probably because she was in a tube top and tight cargo pants, but it still made it really big. And but I have not really played a lot of video games where women are like my main character, because I don't really care. But I would say Lara Croft was probably the one that stuck out to me the most.
Sure. And I will tell you, absolutely, that's why when Tomb Raider came out, I remember I was 16 working at CompUSA, and they had this giant cardboard cutout.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
that's how they got them to buy the game.
Oh yeah, there's no probably. That was absolutely how they did it. They marketed to the horny 16-year-olds.
And right, wrong, or indifferent. It was smart and it worked.
It's smart and it worked. And she's had like 6 other video games and movies. So I mean, she worked out. But
she did.
I think when Angelina Jolie got to play Lara Croft is also when gaming spiked for that video game. You know
what you mean? The tight spandex outfit in the movie? Yeah. No, I didn't watch it specifically for that.
Yeah, I don't think so.
The later iterations of Lara Croft got more functionally believable.
They got more functional, for sure.
Yeah.
They at least put things in her pockets.
Look, a candy bar.
Yeah. Health.
At least they're functional now.
That's the line of the night.
That is. So, Lydia, what is, as we're wrapping up here, what are some things that you want the listeners of the world to know, you want to leave them with about women in gaming and yourself in general?
Oh, okay. Women in gaming in general. Well, first, thanks to these guys for highlighting women in gaming. It's important. Like we said, we need more men to highlight women in gaming for other men to be like, oh, that's cool. I think the things I have to say to the world are women can probably play games just as well as you. And I think I'm one to be able to show that. And that not all women like to play single player games. They like to play games with other people. And if you ever jump into a game with a woman, treat them nicely. That's what I'd like to say.
Absolutely. Don't be a toxic dick.
Yeah, just treat them how you would in real life, which would hopefully be nice.
Hopefully
you would open the door for her in real life. So just like let her play the game, you know?
I love that.
We like that line.
I do
Yeah.
too. It's. I think that's.
I think a lot of people think, oh, I'm behind this, so I'm gonna be rude. But like in real life, you wouldn't have the balls to do that to me. So like, just don't do it in the game.
No, people are really brave when they're behind a keyboard.
Oh yeah.
The keyboard
yeah.
warriors.
Oh yeah.
Most are chicken shit when it comes down to real life. We know
For
this.
sure. For sure.
So.
Most of them are in there. Yeah.
Yeah. So we will post a link to Lydia's Twitch page.
Woohoo.
So when do you normally stream, Lydia?
Tuesdays are usually my day because Matt is off playing pickleball, so I get to play video games. And the way we play games is like if he goes and does a sport, then I will play games. So then it's like doesn't go into our time together. So Tuesday is starting at around 6 o'clock. Sometimes I'm early, sometimes I'm late. It's just how it is. Because I also work a real job. I work in higher education, and so depending, but usually Tuesdays.
Tuesday. Well, we will post a link down there, so make sure you
Thank
go
you.
give Lydia a follow and go check out her channel. Go watch her demolish the boys. Not gonna tell you, throw biddies at her, but definitely
Yeah.
throw some biddies at her if you're enjoying the
No.
content.
No, you don't have to do that.
You don't have to, but we're telling you
I just
to.
do it for fun.
Chove.
Go.
Chove. So, Lydia, thank you so much for being here. We really enjoyed
you,
having you
guys.
on, and this has been a great insight. I would say with you and Prom into the women in gaming. So thank you for giving up your Sunday morning for us.
Very much.
Thank you guys. Thank you. It was fun. Thank you.
So with that, this has been Every Man's Guide to Nerddom. I'm Chris.
And I'm Kyle. And again, thank you to Lydia for joining us. And wherever you guys are, have a good evening, night, morning, whatever time it is, wherever you are. And please be good to each other.
See ya.
See ya.
Nerd could rise up. It could get elevated. Nerd